There is a presser. The prosecution is addressing the press. We want to take you there now.
Good afternoon. Clearly, this is not the... I knew I was going to say something to you today, and it's not exactly what I thought I was going to have to say. But I would just like to, thank our community, our friends, our family, everybody that has supported us through our darkest hours. It's clearly there's still some open issues that the prosecution is going to take up, and, we have their support. They did a wonderful job. There's no Monday morning quarterbacks here. I think they did everything they could. I'm astonished at the result. But, it's due process. He's entitled to it. And at the end of the day, the jury made their verdict. I'm not sure, if they're in the same courtroom as we all were together. But that's the verdict, and we'll live with it, and we'll work closely with the prosecution to get resolution. I'd like to thank Judge Murphy. She did a great job, controlling the courtroom, making sure the jurors did everything they could. I mean, I think we were all of the opinion that the 11-1 was reversed, but we were wrong. We accept that. I'd like to thank also all the first responders that got there that night, all the patrol officers, the EMTs, the neighbors, Pat Sullivan, Mike Jardum, who worked diligently on trying to save my life, on my son's life. Also, all of the doctors. This could have been a double. Two boys could have been killed, and one boy could have lost their leg. But they worked diligently to save Ryan Hines and saved Tommy Connery's leg. I know that going into this, it was a difficult case. There was a lot of chaos, the ages. There may be sympathies out there that just at this point I can't even imagine that I'm standing here giving this part of the speech. I mean, I was ready for maybe manslaughter. I was not ready for not guilty. I'll be honest with you. I don't think anybody was here. So again, I'd like to thank the Shelton Police Department, all the detectives, all of the members of law enforcement that identified the suspect, secured the evidence, managed the witnesses. They did a great job. Again, it's one of those things. I'm in disbelief based on the evidence that was out there, based on the way Attorney Durso and Attorney Messina navigated. I thought they had a great lineup. They did a wonderful job. My heart goes out to them. I hope they can be at peace and this doesn't, hurt anybody. The witnesses, 25 witnesses, this was, it is very tough sitting there. I know a lot of wounds were reopened up. And it's very evident that, although the physical injuries have been, they've recovered from their physical injuries, the mental health that we really need to focus on getting them help right now. And, through our foundation, I'm going to work diligently on making sure that, we can provide them the resources. So I thank you. You've been very respectful to our family. You've done a very professional job. A lot of times with, high-profile cases like this, it gets tried in the press, and this didn't. So Raul Valle did receive a fair trial, so there can't be any, from his side, obviously, found not guilty, so he probably doesn't have any, problems with the turnout. But again, I'd just like to thank you. I'd like to thank our community, everybody that has supported us. Attorney Rosnick, who's been by my side from day one, our friends, family, everybody. Thank you. It's not over, right? So there is still some things that need to be resolved, and we'll work closely with the prosecution to do that. So, sure.
Speak to that, just to clarify, what is possible after the
So there's mistrial. So there's some Mike, do you want to let the lawyers speak?
It goes without saying that we're extremely disappointed with the result. This was a fair trial. The family and I would like to point out our thankfulness for the state's attorney's office. They did an exhaustive job. They conducted a thorough trial, and they were indeed well prepared. So on behalf of the family, again, thank you, the state's attorney's office. The case is not over. There are lesser included charges. We anticipate that the state's attorney's office will file an information, but I'm going to let the state's attorney's office speak for itself. That is one aspect of what our office is doing for the McGrath family. As you may know, there are many civil cases that are still pending. It is a civil arena, not a criminal arena. So there are different standards of care, and there is a different burden of proof. And we will still be pursuing justice to hold anyone that bears any responsibility that led to the chain of events that night. It's our job to hold them responsible. That will come with time, and we're confident that we'll get there.
Kevin, when you found out today that there was going to be a verdict, how were you feeling? Did you think it was going to be leaning guilty? What was your confidence level?
It was extremely confident, probably overconfident. I'm shocked.
I just have to comment, the first person that you heard speaking was the father of James McGrath, the one that was stabbed, died as a result of those stab wounds.